It is Masters Week here with Tyrrell Hatton. Tyrrell, ninth time playing the Masters. Kind of weird to say when you start to count up those numbers. Is it strange to be coming this many times?
Yeah, it is to be fair. But it's still exciting. Still like a little kid when the letter arrives in the post. Um, yeah, it's a very special thing to receive, and it's a special place to play.
Is there anything you do now that has kind of become maybe like a tradition of yours or your family's or your friends or whatever that you just kind of do each year when you get to Augusta and you start to prep?
Uh, I mean, the only thing that stayed somewhat consistent is it's pretty much the same house.
Okay.
I think this is the sixth or seventh time that we've stayed in it, so weirdly feels like you've
You
kind of
know
come
it.
home in a way, which is nice. You feel comfortable with the amount that we travel. It's nice to have certain weeks where you kind of it feels normal.
Well, I mean, especially, you think about major championship golf, and the more you come to Augusta, you kind of know the places to maybe get food, or you know how to get around. You don't have to throw everything into the map the whole time, all the time. It is strange that all of a sudden you only come here for 6, 7, 8 days, and it is a place that you're starting to understand. You played really well here last year. It was your best finish at the Masters. What did you do better last year that you've done in years past?
I think I drove the ball probably as good as I could around here. Typically, when I'm driving the ball well, ball flight is a little left to right, which doesn't necessarily suit.
Not,
Uh,
not what the golf course is
no,
made about. That's right.
yeah, it's not ideal. But yeah, I feel like I drove the ball really well, and also I growing up watching it, you always see guys using slopes and hitting it close, and I kind of felt like I fell into the trap of aiming away from pins and more to the slopes and feeding it in that way, which isn't really my kind of game. I sort of see the pin and
Yeah, a little more
try to hit it,
aggressive.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so last year, driving the ball better, I was like, I'm just gonna feel like I play a bit more aggressive, and it kind of paid off, I guess, over the weekend. Although I four putted 18 on Saturday, um, I think to shoot 71, and it was nice to go out on Sunday and have a really good round.
Speaking of driving, you made a change to your driver this week. Are you gonna pull? You put LST out and you put Max in? Are you gonna go with that starting on Thursday?
I think so. I mean, we've done a bit of work this morning. Yeah, so moving into the max head and a different shaft to what I've been using. I think I've used the same driver shaft since the US Open at Brookline, which was,
Wow. Okay. So 3 years, 4 years, something like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
I mean, I've gone through a few different variations of that shaft I was using, but um, yeah, it's yeah, we've gone for a new shaft, so hopefully that works out well. And honeymoon period with the new club in this week.
It's I think like everyday golfers, average golfers, they think about a major championship and they think about the players and you're like, I want to have the bag set. Like I want to not change anything. I want to go in prepared. I think it's surprising a lot of the time. I mean, you think about Bryson at the US Open last year, changed his driver heads before the final round. I mean, that's changing within the tournament and there's no fear there. Is there any is do you have any mindset about changing anything? Are you open to kind of anything that's working that week?
Generally, I like to keep things the same.
Okay.
I mean, when I played in Miami last week, I felt there was a few things that just wasn't quite right. Certain shots I hit didn't feel like that's what it should have done. So yeah, moving into the max head with a few slightly different setup in the head with some hot melt in a different place. Today it seemed like it was giving me the flight that I want to see. Um, so yeah, we'll probably do a bit more work tomorrow, but I imagine it feels good, so I imagine it will be in play on Thursday.
You going to play in the par 3 on Wednesday?
Yes,
Okay. Have you played in it before? Do you do that typically?
yes, I always try and play the par
Okay.
three. I think it's quite a fun tradition, and it's nice to share that experience with someone. So it's always a good fun sort of couple of hours.
I kind of find it funny that people, because nobody's won the par 3 and actually won the Masters, there is a lot of like picking the ball up or somebody else hits a shot on one of the holes. I always like, if you had a chance to win one of the two, you might as well try to win one. If you were like 4 or 5 under with a couple holes to play, are you going to go for it? Or Or are you still going to go
Well,
out there and
you
kind
don't
of
get
hit and run?
invited back if you win the par three, so
You're out. That's it.
yeah.
That's the end of my time there.
Yeah, and also like I like the fact of sharing that experience with someone who's caddying. Like they get to hit the shot on nine, or at least hit the putt on nine. So yeah, I like that side of it, and it is a special thing. So yeah, I enjoy sharing that experience.
Is there a favorite hole of yours at Augusta National? A hole that maybe you mentioned the slope part of the golf course. Maybe you didn't understand when you first started playing it, and now you're understanding it a little bit more.
Uh, favorite hole. I think well visually, the 12th is beautiful, but it probably gives you the biggest headache.
Yes, for sure.
Um, yeah, it's just mad how the wind kind of switches around there, and it can be completely opposite from one player to the next when there's 2 minutes difference.
I mean, if you're playing on a Friday and the winds are up on 12, are you even watching the guys you're playing with hit the shot? I mean, just because you might take too much information from that. I mean, are you just trying to absorb as much information as possible?
Yeah, I think just, I mean, I'd watch the ball flight,
Okay.
to try and get maybe some sort of feel off that, and also if you're playing with someone that if you've played with them quite a bit, your irons are very similar in terms of distances, and you kind of get a rough idea from how the ball's gone off, and if the wind's hit it a lot or not so much at different trajectories. But it's all good and well until you hit yours and the wind could do something completely different, and you're short in the
And you're
water
dropping.
or
That's I
plugged
mean,
in the back trap, and it's just a nightmare.
yeah, I mean, you think about 2019, and I mean that whole stretch with every player coming through outside of Tiger, and it was just every single swing was getting affected differently, and it's just I think for people that have never played 12 at Augusta, we've heard so many stories about it. Oh man, the wind swirl. And then you think it's a wedge, it's a 9-iron, right? I mean, it's not that hard of a golf shot, but every player that's the best in the world tells you how tough it is.
Yeah, but it's like the 17th of Sawgrass. Everyone's like, oh, it's not that far. You're just flicking a wedge on there. But like in the tournament, you've got all the grandstands with the flags, and whichever corner you look at, the flags are blowing in a different direction. And then you've got the guy on the camera tower that's about 100 foot in the air, and he's got a flag, and that's a different direction. You're like, I don't know where the wind is.
Just take a guess
Just
and
hit and
swing it.
hope. Yeah. So
It's wild. You've got a fun group to start Thursday and Friday. You're playing with Jordan Spieth and Tom Kim. I know you didn't know that until we sat down a few moments ago. Do you get up for different groupings? Does that change anything you do in terms of the way you like, just in level of excitement or watching the people you're playing with, or you just kind of stick to your own business?
I think see certain groups will have slightly bigger crowds, which atmosphere feels a little bit different.
In a good way for you?
Yeah,
Like, do you like it?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Obviously, playing with Jordan and Tom this week. It's a nice group for the first 2 days, and see Jordan's done pretty well around here. And yeah, I'm more than happy with playing in that group.
You played really well late last year into the start of this season. What were you doing so well during that stretch? I think you had 5 or 6 events where you finished in basically in the top 5 with a couple of wins.
Uh,
Like everything well?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess I was putting very well. The Dunhill has been a very good tournament for me. It was the third time that I'd won there, and I know the courses pretty well. The setup is a little bit easier, just because you've got the amateurs playing with that format. That being said, like you still have to get the ball in the hole, and that was great for me. The Ryder Cup points hadn't long started there, so winning the Dunhill, and then a couple of months later the next month finish second in Abu Dhabi, and then won Desert Classic in January. Just the points for Ryder Cup was crucial, and yeah, pretty excited about that, and hoping that I can add a lot more points this week.
Is there like a Ryder Cup text chain or something that goes on with you guys? I just feel like the chemistry is always floating around, and then Sergio's playing well now, and you're playing well, and it just feels like Victor's playing well. It feels like everybody on the Europeans has been playing some really good golf. I mean, is it something that just is continually kind of in y'all's ecosystem, even when it's not a Ryder Cup year?
Yeah, I mean we have a group chat, and when guys have won tournaments, Been certainly a lot of weeks on the PJ
I was
Tour.
gonna
There's been a lot of
say.
European winners, which is great. And yeah, there's been a lot of messages flying back and forth, and see everyone saying well done. And it's great to see. And you want to hopefully Europe can keep that momentum going. And yeah, the Ryder Cup's going to be a pretty mad week. I hope that I'm going to be one of the 12 guys on the team. Yeah, and I would love to be there.
I would say the atmosphere is about as different as it could be this week. When you think
Yeah,
about Bethpage,
yeah.
American, Ryder Cup, Long Island, all that stuff, it's going to be a bit wild. It's going to be crazy for sure. All right, for Till Hatton to have a great week this week at the Masters, you have to do blank really well.
Oh, just a number of things. One, you have to drive the ball really well. It's funny because everyone seems to think that it's quite a wide open course and you can get away with misses. And I mean, I've never felt that way. I feel like you
Interesting.
really need to drive the ball well here.
Well, it's like certain spots, I mean, it's, one is an extremely difficult hole to hit the fairway on. You think about
Yeah.
five, and it's like, how aggressive can you be on the tee there at five? And now seven is so tight, right? Since they moved those tees back, just feels like there are
Has
spots
seven
around.
gone further back?
No, but I mean,
Um,
like the tees that they moved back a few years back.
oh,
But it's just,
right.
it's like every single, you're like, I don't
Yeah, you
know,
panicked me there. I've not seen the front nine yet, and I'm like, no, they've not lengthened it
really
again.
30
No.
yards long. It would not be surprising. But I mean, and there's are certain spots, like obviously the changes at 11, but you still need to pick the right spot to hit that fairway, depending on where the hole
Yeah.
location is. It just, like, I just feel like it's hole by hole.
Yeah, I mean, I think two is quite sneaky. I know they've moved the tee back a little bit. Was it last year? That was
Last
the
year.
first time we played it back. But before then, I always felt two was a very narrow tee shot, and certainly for me again, because I see a little fade, and you really have to take it tight to those left trees, which isn't necessarily a comfortable thing to
Right.
do. And 17 as well. I think 17 is a really hard driving hole. Just
Well, especially your ball flight, as you're saying. I mean, if you're moving it
yeah,
left to
but
right, and
there's been see sadly they've lost a lot of trees with the storm that came through in September. It did take out one of the trees on 17 that I didn't like the visual of.
okay,
So I guess standing on that tee for me today, when I saw it for the first time, it felt a lot nicer for me. But you're still very aware that even though it feels wider off the tee, where you're hitting to is still very narrow, and I think that's why you get some guys hit 3-wood into the wider part. It's good, it gives you an option.
so play aggressive with your iron
I
play,
think
make a lot of putts, hit a lot of fairways, and there you go. And you'll be standing there on
Yeah.
Sunday giving a speech.
Wow, yeah. I think also, putting inside 10 feet is pretty crucial. And then the pace putts. I think that's one of the hardest things to get right here, because everyone knows that the greens are so quick, but you can also have putts that feel like they're the slowest putts you've ever hit in your life, just with how steep the slopes are, and you seem to go from one extreme to the other. And certainly for me, even though statistically I've been a good putter for X amount of years, I think that's one thing that I've always struggled with, is just really getting to grips with the pace from each green.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a golf course. I mean, one of the beauties in the golf course is it kind of is always keeping you on your toes, right? I mean, this tee shot requires you to hit it this way, and this tee shot requires you to hit it this way, and you can't miss left. Now you can't miss right, and you're right on the speed. I mean, certain slopes, like you're putting from the front of that green on 14 up the hill. I mean, you got to hit it as hard as humanly possible, right? And then
Yeah.
down the hill on 15 or down the hill on 13, it's extremely fast. I mean, I think that's one of the cool parts about the golf course is, even for you guys that are as skilled and put as much prep and time into your work, it's still always kind of keeping you thinking and guessing.
Yeah, there's really not any part of the golf course where it feels like you've got a simple shot. It's always You've always, I guess, got a couple of options of how you could play it, but sometimes neither of which are very comfortable. And you just got to hit and hope, I think.
Hit and hope and be patient. Last question for you. Do you ever get into the master snacks, like the sandwiches or any of that stuff? Have you gotten into that, the pimento cheese, egg salad, things like that?
I've been working my way through a fair few of them.
That a boy. Do you have a favorite?
I quite like the Masters Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be my go-to.
Yeah, I think I'm a pimento cheese guy, but Masters Club is always a good one to throw into it. Tyrrell, appreciate the time. Good luck this week. Play well.
Thank you very much.